طيب, resuming with the Kitab Al-Fawa'id, brothers. Collection of wise sayings for Ibn Qayyim rahmatullahi alayh. We finish. We're on a new fasl, right? الوصول إلى المطلوب موقوف على هجر العوائد وقطع العوائق. I believe we read some of it, right? Or we didn't, huh? العوائد السكون إلى الدعاء والراحة وما ألفه الناس وما اعتادوه من الرسوم والأوضاع التي جعلوها بمنزلة الشرع المتبع، بل هي عندهم أعظم من الشرع، فإنهم ينكرون على من خرج عنها وخالفها ما لا ينكرون على من خالف صريح الشرع. If you look at the customs of the people, the traditional practices, the culture, these people, when they're accustomed to doing certain things, they make it like it's like a deen, legislation that they follow. In fact, some people, it's like greater than the deen. Like they will critique you if you oppose their traditions more than if they will critique you if you were to oppose the legislation of the deen of Allah. وربما كفروا أو بدعوا وضللوا أو هجروا وعاقبوه لمخالفة تلك الرسوم وأماتوا لها السنن ونصبوها أندادا للرسول يوالون عليها ويعادون فالمعروف عندهم ما وافقها والمنكر ما خالفها. This is the practices of people, the traditions. If you really look at it, some people, if you oppose them in their way, they'll probably make takfir of you, he says, or call you to be an innovator, or misguide, or boycott you. They'll tell you, this is how we do things, with this practice of our people. If you oppose it, then ya waylik, woe to you. And this is, like Imam Shafi'i used to say, مخالفة العادة ذنب مستحدث. Opposing the customs of a people is like a modern day sin. It's a modern day sin, new introduced sin, brothers. And it's very overwhelming. هذه الأوضاع والرسوم قد استولت على طوائف بني آدم من الملوك والولاة والفقهاء والصوفية والفقراء والمطوعين والعامة فربي فيها الصغير ونشأ عليها الكبير. And you find that these practices that people have of the people, it's becoming overcoming. It takes over them to the point that generations are grown to accept it. And people grow up living with these practices. واتخذت سننا بل هي أعظم عند أصحابها من السنن. Some of the family practices are practiced more than some sunnahs of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم. الواقف معها محبوس والمتقيد بها منقطع عم بها المصاب وهجر لأجلها السنة والكتاب من استنصر بها فهو عند الله مخذول. ومن اقتدى بها دون كتاب الله وسنة رسوله فهو عند الله غير مقبول. You find that when you try to practice some of the sunnahs of the Prophet ﷺ and leave off some of the family practices, you're looked at as someone that is behind and not acceptable. هذا أعظم الحج والموانع بين العبد وبين النفوذ إلى الله ورسوله. And sometimes these are one of the greatest barriers people have to dealing with their family traditions and their practices. And when Ibn Qayyim is just talking about customs that get between you and practicing the deen. Not general family practices that doesn't oppose the legislation. And doesn't get too overwhelming where you raise it so high more than the deen. العرف معمول به إذا ورد حكم من الشرع الشريف لم يحد. Imam Sa'di, he says in his poetry of fiqhiyya, customs of the people is acted upon as long as it doesn't oppose the legislation. So if they tell you this is our family practice, this is a regular thing that we usually do, and it's not opposing anything of the deen, and they don't make too much of it to the point that it's, if you leave it off, you're considered as a sin, and they don't raise it more than how they practice the deen, there's nothing wrong with it. Some people even used to say, al-aada muhakkama. The customs of people is to be acted upon. You don't oppose that. If you come to a people, Be Roman when you're living in Rome, in other words. دارهم ما كنت في دارهم. And he said the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam لم يخرج عن عادة قومي. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not exit from the regular customs of the Arabs that he was living amongst. From their customs was to have long hair, he kept long hair. From their customs were to do certain things, he would do it with them. Don't oppose. If it's something easy and it's not something that is part of the realm of the people, then do it. But once it gets overwhelming and is opposing the deen, then this is where you draw the line. This is where you draw the line. فصل وأما العوائق فهي أنواع المخالفات ظاهرها وباطنها فإنها تعوق القلب عن سيره إلى الله وتقطع عليه طريقه. As for the barriers and the obstacles that get between you and Allah, you're on a journey to Allah and there's certain things that get between you and that path to Allah. يا أيها الإنسان إنك كادح إلى ربك كدحا فملاقيه. Verily, O man, you're on a journey to your Lord. And as you're on a journey to your Lord, sayrun, you're on a journey to Allah. To meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you're going to meet so much obstacles. And you're going to find perhaps there's shaitan calling on the right and the left to rid you from that path. So it is diverting the heart from its journey to Allah. وهي ثلاثة أمور. There's three types. It is shirk وبدعة ومعصية فيزول عائق الشرك بتجريد التوحيد وعائق البدعة بتحقيق السنة وعائق المعصية بتصحيح التوبة. وهذه العوائق لا تتبين للعبد حتى يأخذ في أهبة السفر ويتحقق بسير إلى الله والدار الآخرة. Sometimes these things, shirk, bid'ah and ma'asiyah, get between you and your journey to Allah. If you don't take the preparation of your journey, of your travel, you probably won't reach your destination. And some people, as they're on the journey to Allah, Ibn Qayyim says, مثلهم كمن قارب المنزل ثم انقطع. He got close to his final destination and then he went back. Don't be like that person. You're working so hard and then the last of your affair, you fall down and collapse. But have a journey that keeps you going. Have that preparation. وَتَزَوَّدُوا فَإِنَّ خَيْرَ الزَّادِ التَّقْوَى. Take that preparation of Zad al-Ma'ad, the travel to meet Allah, and the best of it, of preparing with it, is taqwa. So this is what he mentions. And he says, these are the things, but we're going to stop with this amount. But there's a lot to come. Ibn Qayyim now is going to go into some of these things that get between you and Allah, and it deters you. It deters you from what you're initially aiming. How many people, they were focused, mashallah, they knew what they had to do, and then slightly within some years you find them shifting to the right and the left. You say, what happened? Being on one path to Allah is called thabat, brothers. Consistency, firmness. That Allah يثبتك الثبات إلى يوم نلقاه إلى يوم نلقاه, to firmness until we meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. With this we end. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت ونستغفرك ونتوب إليك والمؤذن يؤذن. جزاكم الله خيرا. And those who are fasting, there's some refreshments that can.